keeping in the theme of words, is Sara Brandon. And Sara, a lot of you know Sara. Sara has always worked with words and pictures, craft kits as kids, journaling, poetry, and journalism as a teenager. Published just once in college with a poem called The Winner, she wrote for her brother's graduating year wrestling team banquet. She earned degrees in advertising and graphic design, writes and hand makes greeting cards and books for friends and family. I know that, I've got more. Professionally, she's now Vice President of Marketing and Communications for a healthcare network in Connecticut. Personally, she's back to using pictures and words to communicate with herself. This is Sara.
Can you hear me? So, we all know that moment in a presentation when your stomach says, "What the fuck are you doing standing up in front of all these people?" And then your head says, "What the hell do you think I've been working on for the last 2 weeks?" And then if you're lucky and the presentation you're working on is something you believe in, your heart steps forward and says, "Hey, you two, sit down. I'm taking over from here." So that's kind of where I am in the moment in my life. My heart has taken over. It's telling me to stop being afraid, stop thinking so much, and let your intuition be your guide. And one of the ways that I've been trying to get those three parts of myself, my head, my heart, and my gut in line, is to spend more time in my third-floor attic in my new home in Marbury Avenue. And what I've been doing, probably not very ironically, is cutting up old books, yellow page books, and recreating new stories out of old stories. And then painting wildly colored, totally intuition-driven frames on canvases with color. So come on upstairs to my attic, and I'll share with you what I've been working on. I think my stomach's still in control. The force of gravity. Oh, do we still want to? Why, of course. They had not moved. Into all of this, there was a kind of inexpressible rhythm, a repetition which no one could predict or remember. But it went on. An intense feeling of exultation accompanied the process of the discovery, and then a flashing shock. They might be finding themselves in a place more fitting to their souls than their bodies. There was something tremendous about them, he felt. All things in one, and in that idea there was some glimmering of hope. A rare display of rainbows grew and withered, arching away. For a while they watched time being destroyed. What could light have to do with it? He could see now that it was in his personal accident that she, his particular image of her, had become his visualization of that being in which both inner and outer worlds met. There was more to life than thought. This force that resolved both the inner and outer world into one must be inside myself, or I am indeed undone. He was instantly aware of it. It was like listening behind a closed door for someone. It came suddenly and unexpectedly. No one comfortable for a moment. It was too subtle to isolate, but it was not too intangible. So far, there seemed only one place where the two worlds met. Something must control both life and reality. That might be absurd, or it might not. He motioned to close the window and shut out the vision. He was tired and perhaps a little dizzy, yet such was the vital and moving spirit of this man that even in the days of delirium which ensued, his personality expanded and dominated by a kind of vibrant quality. Only to become aware gradually, it was some kind of suspended motion. She had been there, perfectly, plainly, the seed of a miracle. Sounds simple now, doesn't it? He would not worry himself anymore, hence, resolutions and resolves, burnings and yearnings, regrets, hopes, a few tears. The basket was full of beautiful. He touched her. The darkness again. Dreams of it remained in memory. You could not stop it. He walked to the last, but with every sense alive, watching her sway. A glimpse into the furnace. They watched. Not so very bad. Very good. Really in a bad way. It can do no harm. It will. It is something that is likely to last. They did not, however. Yet there was nothing momentary about it. Like the vision of that flame sheared upon the eyeballs, it remained one of those little plotless pieces in which poetry, moonlight, sentiment, and music wait. What had seemed the summit of ecstasy proved only an overture after all. They went up and up into the magical, pure happiness. It looked easy, and it would have been, but that was only momentary. Oh yes, it was real. Be happy forever? Why not? He would have called out to her, but his voice failed. Faith moved slipperily about, but how wonderful it had been. Prepare yourself for a journey to, yes, where indeed. All the world made it a point to know just exactly where it was bound for. In this interplay, there is no rest to be found anywhere. No adjustment suffices. Few can attain equilibrium. The precautions, I think you will agree, when you understand, are sensible ones. Ye ought to wear sunshade, an absurd little straw hat, wide-brimmed at one side, curved up archly at the other. The wheel and the watches. One hand on the brakes and the other on the rein, driving, standing up around the curve at a mad gallop. Wax candles. All the sorrows and delights of comparative solitude. In addition, unbelievable as it might seem, a hint of naughtiness. Dizzy with happiness and lax with relief. A feeling of authority and position. Love, the crust of yearning. A good first rumbling of revolution. Laughing and talking, the noise of waves, wild weeping passion, disordered imagination. Some dance steps. To have some image of this necessity, a dream, great physical courage. And your word must stand for something. Whatever might come now, do not on any pretext delay. You see, I have even been too careful. But times were changing now, that under certain kinds of trials, I too could be courageous. In fact, I know I could. I did. I was undeceived.
Thank you, Sara.